It's not enough to know what you want to achieve in 3 or 5 years. It's important to understand and it's good to know, but it's not enough because you also need to have a plan. How are you going to do that? And how to create one is exactly what we will be discovering in this video. This is a second video in a series of implementing 12-week year approach, where I share all the steps of the process as well how I actually do them in practice, so you can also learn from my experience, insights and mistakes. If for any reasons you haven't yet watched my first video where I share all about the very first step of the process, which is creating your life vision and why it is needed, I invite you to do that. And of course, make sure to subscribe to my channel not to miss any future videos in this series. Some inside information says that in the moment when I'm recording this video, I'm actually already 3 or even 4 weeks ahead in my 12-week year. A little spoiler, I have very curious insights from the first weeks. I will share it all in my next vlog, but in this video, let's figure out how to create a 12-week plan, which is step 2 of implementing 12-week year approach. And probably this is my most favorite part of the process because I love planning and I consider myself being good at it as well in setting priorities. I treat planning as, from one side, a creative process where I brainstorm ideas, and from the other side, a process where I put all my ideas in some very clear structure. And combination of those two things, brainstorming ideas and structuring them, feels so good because it gives clarity of what, when, how and why I need to do to achieve my goals. And that clarity that you can gain is reason number 1 why you need to create a plan at first place. I really like idea of the authors. If you cannot create a plan on paper, most probably you won't be able to complete it. Your plan is like your map for directions. Imagine the situation where you want to get somewhere, but you want to get there the most easiest, fastest, the most efficient way. To do that, you obviously need to have a map with the shortest route to take in advance. If you try to get to your destination without that map, definitely it will take you more energy and more time to do that. You will need to figure things out on the go, and most probably the majority of time you will just feel lost. Authors also highlight that having a clear plan helps you to better control your time and those actions that you take daily. If you don't have a plan, basically you don't know what you need to focus on day-to-day basis, there is a higher chance that you will be just reactive to everything what is happening around you. That means that those things that will arise simply will control your day and will dictate you what to do. With a clear plan, you can be more proactive and mindful in choosing your actions and prioritizing them. So you kind of take back control and power over your day. And being in control of your actions is super important for achieving your goals. We all tend to focus on results, on that what we want to achieve. But we forget that those results are only a consequences of the actions that we take, of our effort on day-to-day basis. In their book, authors state you actually cannot control the results, but what you can control is your actions. And they truly shift focus a lot from controlling results, basically from what you want to achieve, your goals, to controlling your actions, those steps that you take on day-to-day basis to get to your goals. And 12-week plan, which is step 2 of implementing 12-week year approach, is exactly the tool that can help you to shift that focus from your goals to your actions. So let's create 12-week plan together. I will guide you step by step how to do it, and also will share all about how I did it with my examples. We have completed the previous step, creating our life vision. With that we set goals for 3 years. Now, based on your 3-year goals, you need to select your goals for 12 weeks. This might seem as easy to do, but the trick is that authors really emphasize that you should not have more than 3 goals for the 12-week cycle. When I wrote all my goals that I would like to include in this 12-week cycle, I was shocked how many they are. I had 16. And yes, I assume that previously I tried to work on all of them simultaneously, and maybe this is exactly the reason why I couldn't get any progress. As this time I am committed to implement 12-week year system by the book, following all the instructions, I really pushed myself hard to select only 3 goals from all that list. And it was really hard to do because all of those goals are important to me and all of them I want to do. To help myself make this choice across each goal, I also wrote why it matters to me. Basically, I tried to describe shortly its impact and how it can help me to get to my long-term life vision. Still, it was hard to choose only 3 goals from all the list, but when I had description of that impact in front of me, it was just easier to prioritize where should I start. 3 goals that I selected for this 12-week year cycle are getting back to YouTube content creation, for starting to build my personal brand, building foundation that I need for promoting my coaching services online, for developing as self-employed and improving my sleep quality in order to increase my productivity. Another tool that authors suggest that can make it easier for you to select goals for specific 12-week year cycle is to use one of the most popular coaching tools, which is Wheel of Life. On this wheel, basically each piece of pie represents some area of life. You decide on your life areas, and then each area you evaluate from 1 to 10, where 1 is the worst and 10 is the best. So in the result, you can visually see what areas are the most important for you right now to work on. Overall, the main idea in choosing your goals for 12-week year cycle is to choose those goals which will definitely make your life better, or which are just a logical start to getting to your desired life vision. And to be honest, when I chose only 3 goals from all that long list that I had, I instantly felt some kind of relief and that I'm getting the focus back. So pushing yourself to really select just few goals for your 12-week year cycle really pays out instantly. Another important note is that book recommends that when you set your goals for 12-week year cycle, you need to stay ambitious but still be realistic. I decided to be a bit careful with that, and I was more realistic than ambitious, because as it is the first 12-week year cycle that I'm properly implementing in my life, I didn't want to plan so much that I would immediately fail and lose interest to ever try again. So definitely pay attention to this balance of being ambitious and being realistic, and find your own way. Then for each goal which you select in your 12-week year cycle, you need to define actions. And I really like the approach that authors offer. First of all, they offer to simply brainstorm all the actions that you can think of for achieving that specific goal. Simply write down the long list of all the actions that come to your mind. If you feel stuck, you definitely can use ChatGPT. Don't get scared that this list of actions is too long, because not all of them you will need to include in your 12-week plan. And this is the main idea, that when you have a long list of actions, basically long list of ideas for different actions, you need to select only few actions that you will actually put in your 12-week plan. From all the list, select only those actions that you see are most efficient, most important, most valuable for achieving your goal. Basically, you want to focus only on those actions that can truly make a difference, not the actions that are kind of nice to have, nice to do. All 12-week year system is built around the idea of having minimum number of goals, and for each goal you have minimum number of actions. Basically, you focus only on the most important goals at the moment and most efficient actions to achieve those goals. For example, for my goal to create content on YouTube, I had an action reviewing all those ideas I collected over the years for the content, which would be nice to do, but definitely it isn't the most efficient action to focus on if I really want to create content on YouTube. So instead, I focused on actions like scripting, filming, editing, and publishing. And here I also kind of invented one principle, that for each goal you cannot have more than 12 actions, following the logic that 1 week equals 1 action. And if some action is more time consuming, or it is something what you need to repeat regularly over a time of 12 weeks, then for that specific goals, you need to aim for having less than 12 actions. As for example, for my goal to improve my sleep quality, initially I selected only 2 actions, but those actions I need to do daily. Those are going to bed and waking up at the same time every day to normalize my biological clock. And here, let us just remind ourselves how we tend to think that we need to do it all, we need to do more, when actually we don't need to do it all. We just need to do what matters most, what makes the biggest difference for achieving our goals. And now, when you have your goals and actions chosen, try to reflect how you formulate them, because of course what authors emphasize next is that both goals and actions need to be specific. How many times we hear about a smart approach, and how many times we actually ignore it when formulating our goals and actions. Authors don't suggest specifically smart approach for formulating your goals and actions, but something with a very similar essence. First of all, your goals and actions need to be measurable, quantitatively or qualitatively. For example, when I formulated the goal to return to content creation on YouTube, it actually is not measurable. I mean, what it means, if I just create a channel, am I back to content creation? What is this measure? How I will say to myself that yes, I got back to creating content for YouTube? So I rewrote this goal as publish 7 videos during 12 weeks on my new YouTube channel, which definitely sounds much clearer. From the other side, for my goal to build foundation for promoting my coaching services online, I couldn't set some number that would indicate me that this foundation is done. So here I defined it in actions as creating my coaching offer, publishing it online, opening hours for introduction sessions which potential clients can book. And if I mark all those actions as done, it will also measure for me that my goal is achieved. So you can either have some numeric or quantitative measurement, or you can measure your goal as completed, not completed, in the terms of the completion or not completion of the actions. Next, you want to make sure that each action starts with a verb, which reflects clear, doable action, not a project. For example, publish a video on YouTube is basically a project because it's not something what I can complete in one action. So I definitely need to split it into clear action verbs like write a script, film a video, edit a video, and so on. And of course, for each action, you need to set a timeline when it should be done. It can be a specific week or specific date, or it can be action that you need to complete regularly, like weekly or daily. For those actions, instead of timeline, you will define regularity. And finally, make sure that your actions are ordered in logical sequence, especially when completion of one task actually depends on completion of some other task. So they need to follow each other. And here you might think that you have a 12-week plan ready, but that's not it. And what I will share now probably is the most important part. If you have seen the first video in this series, then you probably remember that taking an effort in the present moment for achieving your future goals basically equals to giving up some level of your comfort in the present moment, because making an effort is never comfortable. So now you have defined your actions for your 12-week goals, but how to ensure that you actually take those actions? Committing to your 12-week plan, taking actions consistently, basically requires you to build a habit. You cannot rely only on motivation or willpower, because as we know, this is nothing constant. What we need is to have some kind of support system that on day-to-day basis will help us to overcome this inner resistance. And to create this support system, let's start with raising our awareness about the reality. To do that, for each goal across actions, I wrote the price that I will pay for taking those actions. Basically, I described there what is this comfort that I will be giving up in order to take actions. For example, some of the things that I wrote, I will be giving up a very relaxed lifestyle, possibility to wake up without alarm. I also will be giving up a comfort that I have right now from the fact that I don't need to face some of my fears, or that I don't need to solve some challenges or problems, because now when I will be doing the actions, I will definitely face some problems and some of my fears. And those things might seem silly to write down, but when you actually write them down, you do exactly that. You raise your awareness of what is going to happen realistically and very honestly. And with that, you prepare yourself to actually face and overcome that inner resistance to take actions. If for some actions you see that this struggle to take action might be harder, authors also suggest to think ahead. How are you going to overcome that struggle? For example, how you can prepare your environment in a way so it supports you in taking action and prevents you from not taking action. And here I want to make a link to the book Atomic Habits, which gives a lot of practical ideas and tips and tools for building habits or changing old habits. And a lot of those ideas you can actually reuse for completing your 12-week plan. Now you have chosen not more than 3 goals for your 12-week year cycle. You selected the most efficient actions for each goals, and again ensured that they are not many. And most importantly, you prepared yourself to overcome inner resistance in taking action by raising awareness and accepting that price or that comfort that you will be giving up in exchange for achieving your goals. Share in the comments how you set your plan for achieving your goals, how you choose your goals, how you choose your actions, what new ideas you learned from this video. However, if I would need to choose only one question to ask you in the comments, that would be how you overcome that inner resistance in taking actions. Because still, to create a plan doesn't mean to complete it. To plan is easier than to actually do. So what it is that helps you the most in taking action? Make sure to comment and make sure to subscribe. In the next video, in the next vlog actually, I will share all about the tools that you can use for having that control over your 12-week plan and for assessing the progress of your plan. And you also will see all my ups and downs from how my first 3 weeks of this 12-week cycle went. So meanwhile, let's share all our thoughts in the comments, and I see you in the next video.